All right, so I had to straighten up that camera. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of New Earth TV Live. We're again very shortly here in the next little while. We're going to have a Q&A with Adronis Interactive Transmissions. I have good news to report. I've finished filming my orientation episode of the brand new Adronis series that is coming out. So that is going to be available on YouTube for free, giving you the idea of what the show is going to be about, and it is going to be featured on the Gnostic TV app, or the Gnostic TV platform. So Gnostic TV is owned by a couple of friends of mine, and I was doing an interview with them not too long ago, and they asked me to be a part of Gnostic TV, and saying, oh, maybe we could do like an Adronis series that would come together. I thought, okay, that would be a pretty cool idea. So that is exactly what is in the works right now. So it's a little bit challenging right now because I'm just getting ready to prepare to go to the UK. I'm going to be doing the Kundalini and Inner Practices Stonehenge tour. I'm going to be leaving here on July 28th and we'll be gone till August 6th. So again, there's a little bit of a gap. Once I come back from that trip, then I'll be able to work on that a little bit more, pertaining to the series and as well pertaining to etherics. So let me just straighten out my camera a little bit more. Just not at the angle that I want it to be. There we go. Okay. So anyways, a lot of stuff is happening. I'm glad you're all here. It's going to be a wonderful broadcast today. And of course, before we go any further, we're going to go ahead and start off with some announcements. So here we go. And this is a very important note that I wanted to share for everybody who may just be tuning into etherics for the very first time, right? For the past several months, I know you guys have seen me put up commercials, you've seen me put up featured videos about etherics technology. And so, Brad, what is all of this regarding etherics? What is it all about? Why have you kind of switched gears and moved into this etherics company? Because I'm so used to New Earth teachings. What's etherics all about? Because I know you've been doing this since the start of the year. Well, let's take a look at etherics very briefly, okay? We have three main products that really represent etherics to a T. We have our bed kits, we have our healing code cards, and we have our safeguards. Our bed kits have healed arthritis. They have healed diabetes. They have healed spine conditions. People with curved spines are noticing that their spines are now starting to form back into natural alignment by sleeping on the bed kits. They have healed nervous system conditions, right? People who have had problems with nervous system dysfunction. They've had nerve pain all throughout their body. It has been extremely intense. They go and they sleep on a bed kit. Within a couple days, they're better. This has reduced autism in children and adults. I've had a woman who basically her granddaughter could barely even walk because her autism was so bad. She went on a prana bed. Within a week later, she was walking completely fine. Guys, I have testimonials to back all of these claims up, okay? These are not just things that are just created off the bat. These are from customer testimonials. I've had a woman who had such bad diabetes that she couldn't even really move her feet. And we have a video of her actually moving her feet, right? After sleeping with the bed kit. Okay, this is the incredible nature of why etherics is so important to me. Guys, it's helping you to heal. This is what's bringing an improvement that no other particular form of product that people are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on, whatever they may be, God knows whatever they are, and they see very little to no results. And here we are basically taking common, everyday items, putting geometrical patterns on them, imbuing them with the source vibration, imbuing them with spirit commands of power, and look what's happening. Look what's happening. This is from customer testimonials, guys. This is what from people are coming to me and saying this is exactly what's happening with them. Our healing code cards, because I've had these around for years, have healed asthma. There's a woman who was able to heal her asthma overnight with the body deck. Have healed kidney and bladder conditions. Another testimonial, basically a woman who had a very hard time with her kidneys, her bladder. She had a hard time with frequent urination, and she was able to cease all of that, working with the kidney enhancer in the body deck. People who have had herniated discs in the spine, right? That is being cured, relating to the healing code cards, okay? The spinal enhancer, the bone enhancer, the blood enhancer. Have had accelerated healing from surgery. This too is something that has been done. And then of course going into our newest product, our safeguards, right? The digital safeguards image package. Completely remove harmful EMF out of your house entirely. I've talked about how my throat has been completely cured by the safeguards. It no longer is in that state where I can barely talk, where I feel like I say something for a couple of minutes and then I'm coughing my brains out. All of that is gone now. My entire space is rejuvenated with the source vibration field through the safeguards. Okay, it restores bodily harm from EMF and ELFs. EMF and ELF, guys, is a culprit. That's probably why the majority of you are sick, because of EMF and ELF, right? We think it's diet. It's not always diet. We think it's lack of exercise. It's not always lack of exercise. It is electromagnetic frequencies. It is extreme low frequencies. It is energetic electrical pollution that is within your space, that is all around you. You put up the safeguards, it completely transmutes all of that and turns it from an EMF to an SVF, source vibration field. Guys, this works. This is proven, right? This is what I'm seeing from people. People are emailing me back and said, Brad, I'm putting up the safeguards. My place feels like a temple now. I don't have any of that charge. There's none of that fritzy, buzzy feeling I get when I wake up in the morning with all of this bloody appliances and electronics around me. It's getting completely removed now, thanks to the safeguards. Guys, what I'm attempting to bring here can really change the world. But like I said, I really cannot do it myself. This is where I need the help of my supporters. You guys have been with me for years, and I really need your help to really getting etherics out there. This is a grassroots effort. And all I'm really doing is I'm not taking any particular type of fancy technology. I'm not saying, okay, this needs to be some gigantic pod or things that you need to take a second mortgage out of your house to buy. I'm just talking about getting common everyday items, right? Blankets, pillows, clothing, apparel, accessories, yoga mats, bed kits, so forth, okay? And we're turning that into healing products. And you guys are benefiting it from so much. I know because you guys are constantly contacting me and saying how much this is radically transforming your life. So, tell people about etherics. If you've already got some etherics products, great, keep using them, okay? But tell people about etherics. Spread the word about it. We have something amazing. I even got free samples here for you guys, okay? This here, guys, this is actually what healed somebody's arthritis. This little symbol printed on a page healed somebody's arthritis. I want you to digest that for a moment. Okay? Look at the solar plexus energizer. Here we are here. This is something that energizes the core of your being. This is what replenishes your prana. This is what purifies it. This is what brings it into a beautiful feeling of wellness right in here. Right? This is your backup battery. And this is exactly what's helping to purify it. Okay? So again, guys, I'm not making this stuff up. This is coming from you. And this is the Inner Ear Energizer. This is what was recently released. Okay, this is our newest free sample. Okay? People are healing their tinnitus from this. And tinnitus is such a culprit. I get hundreds of emails, especially over the past few months. I've gotten hundreds of emails from Brad, what is this buzzing in my ears? I keep getting this ringing in ears. It doesn't go away. Feels like inflammation. There's so much pressure in my ears. People start using this. Pressure is gone. Ringing is gone. Inflammation is gone. And how long does that take? Less than a day. What is this saying, guys? Why are we spending thousands and thousands of dollars on things that are not making you well? Why are you doing that? Right? Because you know it's not making you well. You know it's making you more sick. You know that it's making you numb. I'm not going to name any names about whatever it is that you're buying. Okay? But again, we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on these treatments, on these consumables, on all these different things. Are they making you any better? Not at all. You go to etherics, you download some free samples, you use that within a day or two. All of these systems, situations are gone. Conflicts are gone. Conditions are gone. Like that. Doesn't that say that etherics is something special? Doesn't that say that this is well worth me investing my time and effort into, because I'm helping in a way to bring about source vibration technology that is going to help to heal people of all ages? This is for kids, this is for teenagers, this is for adults, this is for seniors. This is for everybody. Guys, I need your help. I need your help. Okay? And this is where I really want you to do me a favor and just share an etherics link with somebody. So I'm going to be revamping the website here today as well too. I'm going to be revamping the homepage, because what I've been seeing that is lacking with the etherics website is personability. And that's exactly what's going to be coming back on the website, is a lot more personability, and really get that going. Like this is healing people, guys, and I'm not making this up. I got testimonials to back up everything that I've claimed here from you guys, and it's amazing. Okay, I got videos on the etherics YouTube channel that's backing up everything I'm saying here from you guys, and it's amazing, right? Here's the healing code cards. Okay, I've had these for years, and they still deliver. They still do the job. Okay. These are available. You guys can get them as bundles. You don't have to pay them one at a time anymore. They're now available for bundles. Get them going, right? Here's the Orgonite Pyramid, okay? The 3D array. This is doing incredible healing on your space just by popping it right there. It works on healing you. It works on healing your space. One of these little things. Look how beautiful it is. It's gorgeous, okay? Little sticker on the bottom contains the source vibration, contains the spirit commands of power, and is radiating this incredible, powerful field that is cleaning up your space and that's healing you, right? Simple household items, my friends, okay? That's what I'm doing. I'm not making something gigantic and ginormous. You got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars with. These are common, everyday items, and you are receiving it and you're getting it. And I'm sharing this because I want you guys to know how passionate I am with etherics. It means the world to me to get etherics going. Newer teaching still means the word to me. Doing this work here online, doing my private sessions, working with Adronis is wonderful. But this is also so important to me because this is helping you guys to heal. Okay? Especially with the free samples. I'm just blown away about how much benefit is coming out of the free samples. People healing their arthritis, people helping to heal their back problems, people healing migraines, headaches, just with the solar plexus energizer, with the free trial symbols. The free stuff is healing you guys. But I need your help, because what happens? You got these pharmaceutical companies that are spending billions and billions of dollars, and people are thinking that that is the only healing there is. They're on every single commercial. They're on every single channel. And they're just spending billions and billions and billions of dollars. Are they doing what etherics is doing? Not even close. Right? Common everyday items, guys. This is grassroots. I would say right now it's kind of underground. And it needs to be brought up into the grassroots. And I need my supporters to help spread the word. This is why I want to take a few minutes just to share this. I know it's taken a bit of time, but it's just so important that we share this, okay, and really get it out there. Okay, so why don't we go ahead now today and get started with the broadcast. I'm going to put these things aside so they're not in the way. But like I said, guys, it just means the world to me when you guys are sharing, when you guys are promoting. I mean, really, etheric should be the top draw right now. It's not. It's very underground, right? Just very few people know about it. I'm doing what I can to spread the word. But again, I need more of you guys to spread it as well, too. It really helps. And Jijo, thank you very much for your donation. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead now and get into some Q&A. So, if you guys do have questions, you can feel free to put it into the chat. If you do want to have a priority question, then just leave a donation in the chat with your question along with the donation. Okay, some people forget to put their question in with the donation. So see if you can put it in the donation. It just helps me. That way I'm not trying to scurry around the chat to find out where your question is. Okay. So again, Jijo, thank you very much for your donation. Let's go to the top of the chat and we'll get started here. Okay, this one here is from Catherine Elmore. Catherine says, "Greetings, Brad and Adronis from New Mexico. Please tell us about the implants that we have been hearing about and how this item could affect our lives, behaviors, and well-beingness." Well, that depends on the type of implants that you're talking about, Catherine. There's a lot of different implants that you're referring to. There's people that are still considering the idea of getting microchipped in that way. So I'm not sure what type of implants you're referring to. What type of implants that relate to the idea of something that is terrestrial or something that is extraterrestrial. You need to be a little bit more specific about the type of implants that you refer to, because there's a wide range of implants, and we could spend hours talking about implants altogether. So a little more specificity on what kind of implants you're talking about, and maybe we can look into that. Okay. So Jijo, thank you again for your donation. Jijo says, "Dear Adronis, can you tell us what Jesus Christ did when he was between 18 and 30? Oh, very good question there. All right. So yes, thank you, Jijo, for that. Why don't we go ahead and I'll bring Adronis in and we can talk about that. Jesus' missing years. It was actually between age 12 and 30, not 18 and 30. Right? He was missing from the Bible from age 12 to age 30. Okay, so we can look into that a little bit more. Here we go. Terra Soul Star Sirius We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. We want to thank the questioner for their informative question about the life of your Jesus the Christ, relating to, as you have commonly termed throughout your societies, the missing years, from the age of 12 to the age of 30. Now, these are not really missing years. They were originally included in certain texts, giving much more information about what Jesus himself experienced as he went through travels. So in that sense, very firstly, you have to understand that he moved much more into an early initiation that enabled him to be a rabbi in older years. He was a rabbi. That is not something that is made up. But again, his uncle was one of the wealthiest men in the world during that time. And that he too received the call to take young Jesus, as well as John the Baptist, as well as Mary Magdalene, to many of these different areas of the planet so that all three of them could learn. It was not just Jesus, and it was not just John, it was also Mary Magdalene, where she was also accompanying them. But again, they all had their different journeys in that way. Jesus went to different masters. He again explored different heights, different awarenesses of himself that helped him to bring about a greater expansion of what he was looking to know to further his journey ahead. John, again, was taking into other areas in that sense that would therefore prepare the way. Mary Magdalene would bring about the feminine qualities of the message, as she too had a future relating to helping to bring about the church, the teachings of Jesus altogether. So she was therefore to follow. She was to carry on with Jesus' teachings after the crucifixion. So they would go to different areas. Quite commonly, they would go to Egypt. Quite commonly, they would go to the land of Albion. Quite commonly, they would go to India. So these were three common places that we can share to which they ventured. So Jesus had, as you would say, a great different amount of teachers that were helping him to, in that sense, increase and expand his teachings profoundly. But after he received much of the teaching from yogis, teachings from great masters, even teachings from the one that you would know as Mahavatar Babaji, he cut them out. He basically disconnected from them and took all of the fruits of everything that he felt was vital to his message, and through his own power initiated the kingdom of heaven. The teachings of the kingdom of heaven, the teachings of the Christ, where John, again, followed different types of teachings that were just meant to prepare the way, nowhere near as deep as what Jesus himself would bring forward. Mary Magdalene, again, receiving certain forms of, shall we say, feminine initiations, much more through certain types of order, but more of her connection is actually of Egypt rather than that of what was shared in India. She had a lot more connections together with the Egyptian pharaohs. She had a lot more connections pertaining to the Egyptian priests. She has, as you would say, heredity there, or in that sense, ancestry that funnels throughout the nature of Egypt. So much of her initiation and her knowledge came from the times of Egypt. That was more her speciality. And she was, in that sense, to be the carrier. She would be the preserver of the knowledge. She was, in that sense, actually helping the disciples to prepare much of the material for the future ahead. She took charge. It was not to what you would know as Simon Peter. It was very much Mary Magdalene who was leading the group after Jesus' departure. It was the three of them that basically brought about this principal knowledge that would enable Jesus upon his path to therefore share the profound messages, the teachings of the Christ, that would therefore move forward into the times here and now, where the idea of one Christed being was able to impact the landscape of the entire world, and that he had his support systems to assist in the preservation of his words, of his teachings, that will always continue to stand the test of time. So, from the age of 12 to the age of 30 represented significant times of travel where he learned a great deal. Again, from the priests of Egypt, from oracles of Albion, from yogis, sages, and the great Mahavatar Babaji of India. And then returning back to his land as a fully initiated rabbi to therefore spread the teachings of the Christ. This is what we can share pertaining to the missing years of Jesus. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Jijo, for your question. That was a good one. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay. Okay, NP asks, Adronis, on previous communications you stated that the dark player agenda would be dead by the end of the span of change, 2024. Are we still on that timeline? Thanks, Brad and Adronis. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, NP, for your question. So looking into what you would know as the old agenda, the old guard, as it were. You can refer to it as a cabal, anything in that particular way. Is their agenda still valid? In certain ways it is, to basically help to prepare the way of something greater. Yes. Will they be able to impose any of their particular agendas that they have been planning for a very long time any further? No, not really. So it basically is diminished. They will not be able to carry out their plans that primarily involve the massive amount of depopulation. That was really their entire agenda from the get-go. Was the idea to prepare the notion, prepare the entire orientation, the application of performing many of these dark deeds, we will say, that were attempting to lead forward into a complete and total depopulation agenda. That has now been completely and totally averted. Now, do not take our word for it. This is something that you have to discover for yourselves. It's as we say at the beginning of every transmission. Please note that everything that we will provide for you today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. So, please take that in this form of perspective. From our perspective, their agendas are finished. From our perspective, they will never be able to rise into the levels of power that they once had ever again. From our perspective, everything that represents their empire is continuing to implode downwards. From our perspective, everything that they felt they have wanted to do pertaining to agendas will no longer happen. You have already reached that climax. But what you are experiencing right now, as we have talked about many times with you, are the residuals that represent a type of coming of age for humanity. Because there still is greed through your mainstream media, because mainstream media was created out of that. But we also have stated that your mainstream media is a neutral platform, which means they will serve both the counter forces and the dark forces. That's how they work. It's a neutral ground. It's a neutral platform. Both are able to utilize that. As we've stated, this is nothing more than a game. This is nothing more than a show. This is nothing more than a stage play, a movie. Because none of it represents anything pertaining to something that would, in a genuine article, be anything that would represent a great threat to your planet. In a sense, there are, but in that sense, it's all within a controlled equilibrium to the point that is helping humanity that is in front of the scenes, the conscious self, as we would say, helping to be a little bit more aware of the subconscious collective that has been happening behind the scenes. None of this is real. And we have said this many times before. As long as you continue to put so much of your emphasis worrying about what is happening with your governments, what is happening with all of these agendas, how these agendas are coming about, and spending every single waking moment trying to investigate, trying to explore about why this is happening, worrying about it to the degree where it's affecting and impacting your health, you are getting absolutely nowhere. And we again say this with all sincerity. It does not help you to continuously drain yourself to look and to worry about these things. It is the people taking their power back. And you're seeing that. Why do you think millions of you are working together? Millions of you are on the street, working together throughout the entire planet, helping each other, working together. That is the momentum that is going to change all of this. It is not going to come from your higher echelons, the top ranking, the top authority. That's not where it's going to come from. It needs to come from the base all the way up to the top. And that is how it is going to succeed. As we have stated, when you start to see a greater wave of independence flowing through your planet, that is when you know you are making headway. Until that time, you're still just in a transitional cycle. You're still trudging through the mud. But you have the ability to take the higher ground here by spending some time to work on yourselves, spending some time to help heal yourselves, and then helping others when you feel like you have achieved a great deal of your own transformations. by coming into center. And so, yes, much of those particular old agendas that have been spoken of for a very long time have basically seen their end. And now it's just a playing out of momentum as something else is about to gravitate forward. We understand that many of you will get upset and get worried because you're watching the news. That news is not going to bring you good news. It's not capable of that. As we stated, everything pertaining to that is fueled by greed. It is not going to bring you the good news. It is not going to bring you empowering sources of information. It's only going to continue to loop back and forth as it always has been since its inception. It has no benefit to you relating to what you term as the mainstream media. Even in many of your alternate circles, representing news as well too, it still represents the same effect. Regurgitated information and causing people to become more and more afraid. This is, again, no more different than your own fear propaganda, just in different waves, different forms, different incarnations. Throw it all away. Work on yourself. Heal yourself. Bring yourself into center, because it is the truth of your being. And expand yourself in this way. That is what's going to make a difference, but it is up to you to do so. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay, NP, thank you very much for your question. All right, let's go down the list here a bit more. Okay, so Alina is asking this question about how humanity came into existence. Now, I'm not going to answer this question, Alina, because this is actually going to be one of the first episodes of the Adronis series that's coming, okay? So through wisdom transmissions, Adronis is going to be answering a lot of these questions. And I don't really want to spoil it for you guys, okay? So there's going to be a lot of information there about how that came into being, okay? So what I would say, Alina, is to kind of hold out your question until we start debuting the episodes, which will be coming in August, okay? All I can really do is give you tidbits of information that will not spoil the episode, okay? Why don't we all have DNA active? Because you have been tinkered with for generations by many other off-world civilizations that have had agendas, that have attempted to utilize Earth as their own resource-based plane, to where they would attempt to dumb down the human population by tinkering with their genes and claiming that they were the humans' creators, which they are not. Okay? Extraterrestrial civilizations, the ones that are quite distorted, will be the ones that will come here and say that we created you, and that's a bunch of garbage. Okay? They did not create humanity. The nature of humanity came from much more of a higher presence. And again, I'm not going to reveal too much of that because that's going to be in the episode. Okay? But genetics in that sense has been manipulated. Okay? It's very, very simple to manipulate a lot of the genetics pertaining to humanity. All it really involves is just the idea of working together with certain subtle vibrations, working with certain alchemical formulas, and again, even certain levels of programming. Okay? So this is something that has been with humanity for many thousands of years, because in that sense, since humanity's downfall after the times of Atlantis, that is where humanity has been easy pickings from many other beings, you could say, that have come here that have basically tried to take advantage of a very disastrous situation as humanity began its dark age. And through that dark age was the manipulation of the human genetic code through new claimants who claimed that the earth was their property and that humanity was their property and that they would use humanity as a resource, and they would basically have humanity fighting against each other to prevent themselves from getting to know who and what they are. So basically moving from, you could say, a 12-strand DNA helix to a 2-strand DNA helix, which is a condensing, which basically means all of our genetics are there, but they are operating on a much more different wavelength that represents a greater amount of suppression. It's like taking an object and putting it into a heavy vice and crunching it together and compressing it together. All of that information is still there, but it's been crunched down. It's been converged into a double helix. Okay? And that, again, is all part of humanity constantly relying on somebody else to fix their problems. Okay, that's a common side effect of the idea of these slave programs. When you feel like you need somebody else to solve your problems because you feel that you are incapable, that is a side effect of a slave program. Okay? When you feel like you do not have the power within yourself and you're constantly repeating all of these tendencies around yourself and you feel completely and totally separate from everybody else, that is a slave program. All of these things are basically slave-inducing programs. To feel like you are incapable, you can't do the job, you can't do this, you can't do that, somebody else has to do it for you. You're feeling separate from everybody else is better than you, or you're better than everybody else, etc. It's these polarized concepts that basically are trying to create a tug of war with humankind themselves, and that's basically how you do it, because that makes everybody controllable. If I pit humanity against itself, then I'm going to be able to control it. Because all they're doing is they're constantly being led by fear. They're completely in the dark about their own spiritual selves. They don't even think they're spirit. They just think they're a bunch of meat suits walking around the planet, fighting with each other, trying to look out for number one. All slave programming. Okay? And so this is very much what has not only happened on Earth, but this has happened on many other worlds that have been seized and taken over by certain regressive groups. Okay? This is something that has been widespread, particularly through the outer edge of this galaxy. Again, I'm not giving away too much from the episode. But the outer rim of this galaxy is notorious for slaved worlds. Okay? And the Earth is in the outer rim of this galaxy. And we are simply one of those particular planets that for many thousands of years have been enslaved. And it's happened into other cultures that have been here before us. They have also had enslavement programs coming in. I don't know if it's been as severe as ours, but they too liberated themselves and they became starbound. Okay? So there have been other civilizations before us that have been here that have faced the brunt of these slave programs. They were able to beat it, and they were able to vacate the planet so that other species could come forward and learn here. Humanity is just on the list of other civilizations that have been here before, working together to liberate ourselves and go out to the stars, because we are a natural galactic civilization. We are a natural celestial civilization. We are a cosmic civilization, right? We're not meant just to stay on one planet. If that was the case, our experience would be very, very different. Okay? But we're not. We're extra galactic. We're universal. We're cosmic. That's the nature of ourselves. So, again, I don't want to spoil anything else. I want to save a lot for the episode. I don't think I've touched anything that would jeopardize the excitement of the episode, but that's giving you an idea, okay? Because exactly that's what we're going to be talking about in the first and second episodes of Wisdom Transmissions, okay? Thank you for your question, Heather. All right, this one here is a donation. Thank you, Vivi. Vivi says, "Hi, Adronis, what star system do I come from, and how many lifetimes do I have on Earth so far?" Okay, so Vivi, we have to clear some stuff up first here. Adronis and I have gotten these questions to death for the past 15 years of my life. Okay? And I don't really need Adronis to answer this question. I appreciate your donation, but I'm just going to make things very, very clear here. Okay? It's not so cut and dry as for anyone to answer, what star system do I come from? Vivi, there's no such thing. Okay? How many lifetimes do I have on Earth so far? Vivi, that is an irrelevant question, because it doesn't matter. You're trying to categorize and compartmentalize many of your incarnations here on the Earth. If you're looking at yourself through a soul perspective, I wouldn't even call it a perspective, just from the outlook of the soul, your lives are infinite. Okay? And there is not the idea of a first lifetime or a last lifetime. That would indicate that you as a soul is finite, and that's not your nature. Okay? Yes, we have had lifetimes that we can depict throughout Earth. Everybody says, oh, it's my first lifetime here. Complete garbage. No, that's not what's happening. Because again, you have to look at all of these different dimensions. You have to look at all these different perspectives from yourself. Many of you have spent thousands of lifetimes all together just to come here, right? And then there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of lifetimes that are available throughout the scope of you being here on this planet. in different forms, in different ways. So do you see how I can't really put those into words? A lot of people ask me this question to death for the past 15 years. And the whole idea in that sense is that you're still seeing yourself as a flesh body. You are still relating to a body and the mind, and you still see yourself as this big. And that's not who you are. It was in the Bible where they said, ye are gods. Vivi, that includes you. Okay? Every single person on the chat, everybody who's watching right now, that includes you. You do not come from a star system. You do not come from a galaxy. You do not come from a planet. You do not come from a universe. This is nothing but the mind's playground. You are beyond the mind. Okay? Who and what you are is source consciousness. You are spirit. Okay? You don't know that because you are not aligning to that. You're aligning to this flesh body. And okay, I had an incarnation on Sirius, so I must be a Sirian. No. I had an incarnation on the Pleiades, so I must be a Pleiadian. No. I had an incarnation on Arcturus, so I must be an Arcturian. No. None of those things are who you are. Okay? How many lifetimes you've had on a planet is not who you are. Okay? Yes, I can look into certain lifetimes with people. I can basically talk to them about their Akashic records. We can look into bringing about certain lifetimes that help a person to get an idea about what they're here to do. Okay? So Vivi, as I look at you in that sense, you have always been the person that felt like they have wanted to get the big picture, but you've been going through the outer world so much to think that that's where it is. You have been a seeker for many generations. Okay? This even goes into Brazil, this goes into Argentina, this goes into Greece, this goes even into ancient Samaria, okay? This goes into ancient Egypt, there's connections there, okay? But that doesn't mean that that is who you are. Those are just experiences. Those are notches on the belt. But you're not the belt and you're not the notch, okay? These are all waves. And like I said, guys, I've done hundreds and hundreds of Akashic readings. I've looked into people's lifetimes. I have never met a single person who says, oh, Brad, this is only my first time on Earth. Bull crap. Because I've never seen that. Okay? Everybody has experience here. Right? Even when they say, oh, all these new children are coming, well, these are all just beings who have been on Earth before, because you need to have rapport here. They have been here before. Right? And it's the idea that you can't really discover the idea of a first and a last lifetime, because it's not about a magic number that pops in and say, okay, this is your very first lifetime. It doesn't work that way, guys. It's like looking at a honeycomb, going inside a honeycomb and say, okay, can you tell me the very first cell that was created here? You wouldn't know, right? You have all of these cells gathered around you, 360 degrees, and say, okay, I want you to point out the very first cell, and I want you to point out the very last one. You can't know that, okay? It is just a slurry. It is a multitude of different lifetimes that you are seeing like a honeycomb. And I get people asking me all the time, oh, bro, what was my very first lifetime on Earth? Can't answer that question. Because there's no first and there's no last. Number doesn't mean a damn thing. Okay? Number is not what governs the universe. Do you know what governs the universe? The ether. The ether is what governs the universe, because it is through the ether to which everything arises. Every perturbation of the ether creates the magnetism that produces matter form. It is through the ether that all things are possible. It is through the ether that is your nature. That is who and what you are. You are spirit. You are the ether. You are God. You are consciousness. You are awareness. Okay? That's your true nature, but you cannot relate to that. No, it needs to have a face, needs to have a voice, needs to have something that I can relate to. Then go into your highest God self with attributes. See yourself as the living God with attributes. Attributes representing certain degrees of personality, representing different things that you can relate to. But that's you coming into your highest God form, which you could basically term as the higher self. Okay? And that's what you're learning to work together with. So This is why I basically have to say, Vivi, that I have to correct your questioning. Okay? Because these questions that you ask do not hold relevance to who and what you are, which means they're wrong questions. Okay? And I don't like to say that, but really it's what it is. Because I've heard these questions hundreds of times throughout the years, working with tens of thousands of people, and I've had to correct them every single time too. Sorry guys, you don't come from a star system. You don't come from a planet. You don't come from a galaxy. You don't come from a universe. You are from Source. That's your nature. You have always been. Even saying that you're from Source isn't accurate. You have always been. You have never had a time of beginning. You will never have a time of end. You are omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. That's your nature. But you don't know that. And so you try and discover questions that you can relate to. And I get it. But that's just not the right line of questioning. Okay? The right line of questioning is to look into yourself and saying, who am I? What am I? Right? It's going back into that nature of self-inquiry. To discover who am I, with that capital I there. That's where you want to be. That's where all knowledge is. That's where the greatness of your being is beheld, in the I. That's where you need to be. Because that's the convergence point between the physical and the spirit. Right? The mind, the ego, always meets at I. That's where you want to be. Okay? When we look at all these lifetimes about extraterrestrials and angels and all that, that's all fine and good. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I know people like to go on experiences because it's so heavenly. Oh my God, I'm so free. I'm in a light body. I feel so luminescent. I feel 1,000 times lighter than being in this heavy physical body. Okay, that's great. I've taken people on angelic experiences. I've taken people up into ships. Okay? Going into astral journeys and taking them on ships and seeing their star family and seeing all the technology that they have on ships and going up into the angelic planes and seeing the angels, the archangels, the seraphim, etc. So all great, but that's still not who you are. Okay? Those are experiences. Those are expressions of your being. If you are not here to know the I, you will never know yourself. Okay? I don't care how many incarnations you've looked at. Doesn't matter. Those are wardrobes. That's you just putting a bunch of layers of clothing on yourself. And oh, okay, I know myself because I got 10,000 layers of clothing on. Huh, look at me. That's not going to get you anywhere. Okay? It is about going to I, to being the I. It is when you know I that I know. And that's the key. Okay? Thank you, Vivian, for your question. Okay, let's go down to Petra's question here. Petra says, are we going to 5D with our physical body so as we now are only with our... Okay, Petra, this is a little bit confusing. Are we going to 5D with our physical body so as we now are with our light body? I really don't understand your question, Petra, but I'll do what I can. It just feels a little bit scrambled there. Okay. I guess what you're trying to ask is if we're going to go to the next dimension with a physical body, right? If you're moving up into the next dimension, okay? So let me bring Adronis in for this one. So to rephrase your question a little bit, can we take our physical body with us when we move up into higher dimensions? Okay, let's ask that question to Adronis. Here we go. We thank you very much, Petra, for your question. So what you are terming here in this way is the idea of, is it possible in any way, in any shape, in any form, that I can take this physical body with me to higher dimensions? No. No, you can't. All right? It is simply designed for this plane. Let us ask you a question that will answer your question. Let's see a goldfish in a bowl. And you have this green net, and you're going in and you're scooping up the goldfish, and you're telling this goldfish, okay, I want you to now live in this air-based environment. What happens after a couple of minutes? The fish suffocates and the body dies. Now, it's a bit of a crude analogy, but it gets the point across. When you are looking at different dimensions of reality, you have to understand that they hold different matrices pertaining to their construction. That construction is not designed to support a third density body, to wit is termed here that you currently occupy. You can't do it. Now, your astral body is, as you would say, multidimensional. In fact, the astral body itself is able to manifest here. It's able to materialize here in this plane for a certain amount of time. And then it can simply vanish. In fact, this is what happens quite commonly upon your planet, is that you will notice that there are videos that will show people suddenly appearing in the middle of a street and then disappearing. What is that, Adronis? That's an example of a dream body. That's an example of an astral body coming here, materializing for a short amount of time, and then disappearing. So, looking at the astral body, you are capable of looking at different dimensions of experience. But the physical body does not have that capability. It's not designed in that way. Is it possible to turn a third density body into a fourth density body? To a certain degree, but it is not something that happens naturally. It would need to be seriously reconfigured on a genetic level that would lighten its own coherency to function in appropriate domains and dimensions that exist higher above. But to do that would require a greater amount of complexity, and basically we would say instead it's better just to have a body within that space, because that would involve a greater amount of complexity to basically lighten the density, and that would basically represent the nature of a complete and total cellular overhaul of this body altogether, which would be in that sense quite consuming. So basically, to avoid all of that complexity, it's the idea that the third density body would be dropped so that another body would be prepared, which would make it, as it were, the path of least resistance. It's not to say that certain bodies cannot be configured that way, but it really doesn't make sense to do that. It's much more easier to therefore receive the genetic information from the host itself and appropriating an appropriate multi-dimensional body for that means. So, all in all, we understand what you're trying to say, Petra. Can I keep this body if I move into higher dimensions? No, you can't. It needs to drop. And once it drops, your astral body, your transient body, the subtle body itself, is able to go into any particular dimension that you wish. And through that subtle body that represents yourself, should another particular body be prepared, and through an agreement that is forged, you can therefore bring yourself into that particular body, existing in what you would refer to as a much more lighter dimension, or lighter plane. That's really how it works. Now, we attempt to bring this information to you because there really is not a lot of scientific information on your planet that talks about the changing of bodies from one dimension to another, because your science hasn't got there yet. But at some particular point they will, but it's a long way ahead. So we're doing what we can to give you a simple answer without being too heavily technical, without being too heavily scientific here, about how this works. So again, you must understand that this vehicle is in that way a musical instrument. When your subtle body infuses itself directly into a physicalized body, it is like an orchestra. It is like a symphony taking place. And the symphony must match through this body, so that it appropriates everything as being an ideal beacon of expression for yourself. So the exact same thing needs to happen even in the higher dimensions. Now it's a different orchestral vessel. It's a different musical instrument. But again, through the appropriation of yourself that represents the state of agreement, that therefore forges yourself into the higher level of these extra dimensional bodies, the orchestra is played in harmony, and now you are incarnated into another body that would represent the idea of a higher dimensional vessel. So you have to look at DNA as a symphony, as an orchestra, as a well-played song that has so many different forms of musical instruments accompanying it, that it has so many overtures, and it has so many overtones relating to it, all playing in harmony at once. That's the musical instrument for this dimension. It is the perfect fit for everything that you wish to experience here in this dimension, in what is termed as the third density. You cannot take that instrument somewhere else just by itself. Can't be done. It will be destroyed. The body will not last. It'll basically just destroy itself because the energy is at such a higher intense level that the physical body cannot exist in that plane. It will basically combust. It simply couldn't survive. The idea of that is that everything within it would internally explode. Organs would explode. Cells would explode because it is operating at a vibration of voltage, as it were, that it could not handle. And it would lead to the complete and total interior destruction of the body. It would lead into combustion. We don't really want to do that to your body. You see? So this is where people who have gone on astro explorations, have you ever heard a person, and please pay attention to this, have you ever heard a person who says, I've been able to take my physical body into dream time with me? Have you heard that? You've never heard that once. And if someone tells you, then basically they're lying to you. You cannot take your physical body into the dream plane, into the astral plane, into these higher dimensions that we are speaking of, because it would not survive. It's not built for that. So, many of you feel this idea that as you're going through these shifts right now, that you're going to be taken from one dimension to another dimension, and this physical body is going to go with you. No. It can't. It's not designed to do that. It will die. It will combust. And that is not what we want to see happen with your physical body. Your physical body is the body for this plane. It is the body for this dimension, because that is how it is oriented. Which means this body needs to drop, so that you can therefore go into another body should you decide to incarnate into a higher dimension. Because you need a vehicle that is appropriate for that dimension. It's not just the idea of feeling that this body is going to do the work. Now, the very important thing is that you have, as you would say, layers of bodies on top of this one. And basically that's what we're saying. You have a physical body, you have an astral body, you have a causal body, and throughout those bodies there are different layers. And through certain dimensions, the subtle body that we speak of can be manifested. But there are also other bodies that are prepared, that are specifically designed for much more of a deeper experience within those particular forms of astral territories, to which you can also incarnate in. Life continues in the astral plane. The astral plane actually has a much more significance of, shall we say, living beings than the physical plane does. Physical plane in that sense would be very much smaller than the nature of the astral dimension. The astral dimension would be approximately 50 to 100 times the size of your universe. Much grander. And there are civilizations that live there. And they are, as it were, incarnated in astral bodies. Now, you have your own subtle bodies, but that subtle body, as we stated, represents a multidimensionality of different layers of experience. And so therefore, some will decide to incarnate in appropriate bodies in the astral plane, to therefore live life there. And it's a very different experience from the physical world. Everything represents the nature of, there is still, as you would say, time. But time is much more flexible. The ability of continuity is much more flexible. It's not so much in the idea of a morning, afternoon, and evening type of life. it's not so linear. It's much more quasi-linear. You're able to explore different dimensions at the same time. It's no more different than your own dream plane. You can go here, then 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 you can go here. So it is much more flexible to the current, as you would say, of continuity. So that's the overall difference. But there are bodies that you can, as it were, manifest and incarnate into that are, again, appropriate for those experiences. It's not about taking this physical body into the higher planes. It cannot be done. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. So yeah, that's very important, guys. A lot of people ask me that question as well too. You know, we got a lot of people from the New Age community and say, oh yeah, we're going to go to 3rd to 5th, and then from the 5th we're just going to take our physical bodies with. No. Where are you getting this information? It doesn't work that way. Okay? This body has to drop. This body basically has to perish. And once it perishes, then you, as who and what you truly are, will have the opportunity to explore different spaces. Those spaces, those domains, those dimensions can be available to you just based upon what you want. It's all very subjective to the host in question. All right? Thank you very much, Petra, for your question. Okay. So just going down the list here. Catherine asks, when will the Adronis series be available? It's coming in August. Okay, I don't have an exact date for it yet because I'm still going to be filming a couple more episodes before I get it debuted. But again, the orientation episode will be up this week. It'll probably be up by this weekend. Okay, and then there will be more episodes to come on the network. So you would need to subscribe to Gnostic TV. Okay, so you can get a 3-day trial for them. That will all be included in the orientation episode. Okay, there will be a video description, and you can sign up there. And you can watch all the episodes there. Okay. The only episode that's going to be free on YouTube is the orientation episode. Okay. There may be a couple trailers to other episodes, but the full episodes are going to be available on Gnostic TV for you to watch. Okay. So thank you for that question. Okay, Carol Ann here has a question. Hi Brad, I have a question for Adronis regarding pine tree extract. I had heard it has numerous benefits, including heightening our connection to God. Thank you. All right, one moment. We thank you very much, Carol Ann, for your question about the nature of pine tree extract. Well, again, pine tree does have certain benefits. Now, it really depends in regards to what you mean pertaining to your connection to God. You see, that becomes a little bit vague in that way. Now, basically what it does is it brings you into much more of a heightening state because of its vibrational quality. If it is something that is topical, if it is something that is ingested, it all depends in regards to how the extract is being used. But again, it basically represents a certain vibratory harmonic relating to the pine tree itself that is therefore coagulating together with the chemicals and the systems of your body that will bring you into a much more of a heightened state. We're not really saying it's psychedelic, though. It does not have a psychedelic property to you, but it basically makes you feel a lot more spacious. It makes you feel a little bit more calm. Makes you feel a little more in center, right? So again, your connection to God is a very, very vague response because you already are God. Now we know what you're trying to say, but again, that does not bring about the, shall we say, preliminary understanding of what the pine tree extract will do for you. So, as we stated, it brings about a feeling of spaciousness, but it's not euphoric and it's not psychedelic. All right? It is something that brings you into much more of a calm factor, yes. Brings you into much more of a feeling of relaxation, yes. But that's really what we can say. It does not hold any particular psychedelic properties. All right? The psychedelic properties, in essence, would bring you much more closer to the soul, not pine extract. Right? Pine extract is a level down. It's beneficial, but it's not the level that is connecting you into those deeper, shall we say, communion states with the nature of your own higher self, with the nature of the soul. Psychedelics have much more of that benefit. But this is not a psychedelic. This is more of a stimulant or a relaxant in that particular way that helps to bring you into a state of ease, calmness, spaciousness altogether. That's what we can say regarding the pine tree extract. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay, thank you very much, Caroline, for your question. Okay, so I think we're going to take about 1 or 2 more questions, guys. We're going to go into distance healing, okay? So if you guys do have a distance healing request, feel free to place that in the chat, either for yourself or for somebody else that you know. If you would like to do a distance healing request, you can feel free to put that in the chat, okay? Let's go through more of the questions here. Okay, here's one from Kevin Buckley. Kevin says, "Hi Brad and Adronis, so glad to see you. My question is, who cut down the massive trees on Earth, which are perceived as mountains, such as the Devil's Tower and Tabletop Mountain, etc., and why?" Okay, so I'll bring Adronis in for this question. We thank you very much for your question regarding your massive trees, or world trees, or silicone trees. Now you have to understand that those particular trees are very ancient. Very ancient. They were around before mankind was around. Now, some of them still stood as mankind was propagating upon the planet, but the majority of the trees were around prior to you coming here, because they were all part of a different civilization. They were basically planted there. These particular trees came together because they ushered in a particular age for the planet, going back a very significant amount of time. But they were basically planted there. Just like the nature of how everything upon your planet is significantly planted. They were planted there because they represented a particular age of the earth that really you could not digest at this time. It operated on a much more very higher frequency, to where the plane of Earth in that sense was moving up into a much more higher dimensionality, a much more higher frequency. It was more of a shared time as well too, relating to, again, different civilizations that shared upon the surface and the underground of the Earth altogether. You would understand that a lot of these connections pertaining to the world trees would be in connections to what you would know as your fairy folk, connections to the Fae, connections to elemental beings as well too. So it was a very, very different time, and the way that the earth was aligned in that time was very, very different than what you would know right now. Everything was harmony, everything was unity. But of course, dark ages fell upon the planet, and upon the planet through the falling of this dark age, where again there became polarization, there became separation consciousness. This is what led into the idea of other beings who were once a part of the plane, who were working together with many of the civilizations, began to show much more of their true colors. And through much of these particular true colors that were being shown, there was an attempt of harvesting, because the life force energy that would come through the world trees at that time was so phenomenal that it could actually be harvested. And that's basically what happened. You would look at, shall we say, deep minerals that basically contain certain types of precious ores that could be found just under these trees. But in order for you to reach it, the entire tree would need to be cut down, so that only the stump itself would remain, so that extraction could take place. So we really cannot name the particular beings responsible for this, because it's not for you to know at this time. But you could say that there were regressive miners that came here and basically severed the trees down and basically accumulated a great deal of the precious ores that they felt would bring them immortality. That's exactly why it was cut down, because of resource-based reasons. And that the ores that were contained underneath these trees that were so incredibly potent, they became consumed with immortality, and basically accumulated all of that great wealth pertaining to the ores that exist underneath the trees. The silicon trees, basically a type of crystal as well, that would therefore feel to them that they would be able to preserve their legacies for a great deal further. So basically in that sense, they showed their true colors. They became a turncoat, and they, in that sense, involved a great genocide upon the planet. All right? Again, we cannot share the nature of these beings. They are not to be revealed at this time. But this is primarily what has happened. The majority of the great trees on your planet were cut down, and the resources pertaining to what they held were accumulated so that there could be an attempt of bringing forward immortality by harvesting the nature of the minerals, the natures of the ores, the natures of the crystalline matrices that were contained underneath these trees. Even within these trees as well too, because you would find them deeply within the core of the bark, as it were. But again, these trees would be much more of a silicone nature and not carbon. So the nature of their silicon quality, the crystalline structure within them, the minerals that aided in their growth were all harvested. And this is basically what you would know as ancient mining that took place upon the planet. But this goes back many hundreds of thousands of years. All right? So that's what we can share in regards to what took place relating to your world trees, your silicon trees that once stood upon your planet, that are now the result of Devil's Tower, Table Mountain, and many other different types of stumps that you would mistaken for mountainsides. They are not mountains. Those are the remains of ancient tree stumps that once heralded the world trees that are of a silicon nature. All right? We thank you very much. Okay. It's quite tragic because I've been to Table Mountain, right? When I went to South Africa, I stood right on the top of Table Mountain. I put my hand right down on it, and I could feel the roots of the silicon tree. They're all dried up. It's basically dead, but that's exactly what's there. You're actually feeling roots going into the ground, so deeply into the ground. They're miles long. But you're basically standing on top of a tree stump. And I saw that firsthand, personally experienced that with Table Mountain in Cape Town, South Africa. That was quite a sight to behold. Okay, so we're going to take one more question, guys, and we're going to go ahead and go into distance healing. Okay, so we're going to take about 3 or 4 distance healing volunteers, and then we'll end with the group healing for today. Okay. Okay, I think we'll end with this question here with low possibility. Not an easy question to answer. Low possibility question, what is the ether? Can you explain it, please, and how is that relate to the I am? Okay. Well, if it was so easy for us to explain the ether, I don't think any of us would be in the problems that we are in. Okay. We really can't explain the ether other than the idea that it is the complete and total absence of everything that we know representing materiality. Okay. In order for matter itself to form, there comes the perturbation of the ether. The perturbation of the ether is a geometrical response that contains dielectricity and magnetism. Okay? A person who really explains this quite well is the man named Ken Wheeler. Okay? Theoria Apophysis is his YouTube channel. He explains this very well, and I'm just doing my best to explain it in simple terms because he can't really explain things simplistically. I love the guy, but he can't really explain things too simplistically. So I've been studying a lot of his stuff to try and put it into simple terms. Okay? Do you guys know what a hyperboloid is? And do you know what a torus field is? Okay? That is the natural geometry that forms through the perturbation of the ether. Okay? A perturbation of the ether comes from the state of perception. Okay? Now, when you're looking at the nature of the ether itself, some people will see it maybe as a fluid or anything like that, but you're only just utilizing that for analogy and example. The ether does not have any physical properties that we can divulge other than the nature that it is being the ether, because that's like asking me, oh Brad, what is spirit made out of? Right? We can't really answer that question. Spirit is the I am. Ether is the I am. Okay? But when it is perturbed, it forms the geometry that I just spoke about. It forms the hyperboloid, and the hyperboloid's opposite is the torus. The hyperboloid represents the dielectric or the cosmic prana. The torus field represents the magnetic field or the living prana. Okay? So you basically have cosmic prana, living prana. You have the dielectric, you have the magnetism. Okay? The magnetism orients itself in low pressure systems. It is a pressure variant modality that represents the entire toroidal field. When you're looking at a hyperboloid, that is the nature of the dielectric, right? The dielectric itself represents that nature of inertia, right? There's a plane of inertia that exists throughout the center point of the toroidal field itself. So a perturbation comes to the nature of conception. A conception, an idea that is invoked that basically inverts the nature of the ether, turning it into a perturbation geometrical pattern that represents the toroidal field, the hyperboloid and the torus. And through the nature of magnetism moving into lower pressure systems, this is what's available to bring about matter. Okay? Matter is materialized through magnetism. Okay? This is why we have our physical body here in this way. And it's containing that of a magnetic field. We look at our own geometry, we have the same geometry. You find the same geometry throughout everything that represents life. It has a torus, right? It has the dielectric, it has the magnetic. The dielectric and the magnetic are one thing. They are not separate, okay? But the dielectric field is magnetism, but magnetism is not the dielectric field. Okay? That'd be the best way to put it. So it's like looking at the cosmic prana is the living prana, but the living prana is not the cosmic prana, okay? So everything that represents life returns back into the cosmic prana, returns back into the ether altogether. So you really can't describe exactly what the ether is. Nobody has been able to accurately describe what the ether is, other than the nature of it being the I am, okay? Because it has nothing in regards to properties. It has no values, right? It's not something that you could put as a grid and saying, oh, there it is. Right? Look at everything that is around you here in this room that you cannot identify, and that would be the nature of the ether. Okay? It's not emptiness. Okay? It's not the nature of an emptiness, and a lot of people get that wrong as well too. No. The ether is not emptiness. The basic thing that we could share would represent the nature of it being pure consciousness. Okay? Pure intelligence. Okay? So the etheric would represent, you could say in the best way, a membrane that connects directly between the spiritual and the material. Okay? It's kind of like the bindu at the top of the head that the Indians will talk about quite a bit. Yogis will talk about quite a bit. The bindu being the seal, the divide in between the material and immaterial planes. Well, the ether would basically be that type of membrane, but it's a membrane that does not have a form. And so everything comes through the ether pertaining to the nature of its perturbation, representing a dielectric magnetic field, representing what's known as the hyperboloid torus. Again, the opposite image of a hyperboloid is a torus. The opposite image of a torus is a hyperboloid. Okay? And it all works through the nature of inertia. Inertia represents that which is at rest. But again, when there is charge and when there is discharge, this can represent the idea of inertia or energy being inverted. Okay? So when we're looking at the nature of inertia itself, when there is a perturbation of charge, that perturbation of charge inverts the inertia, creating energy. Okay? So that particular charge, which again comes through conception, which comes through idea, which comes through thought, is what manifests everything in this universe. Okay? And it is the magnetism that basically goes into the lower pressure systems. For the magnetism itself to be desaturated would involve the nature of a dielectric charge that would therefore produce discharge to the magnetism, which brings it back into the ether again. See, this is why it's going to get a little bit complicated here. It's like, what? What's he talking about? I don't know. It's really, really difficult, and I can see Ken's struggle about him trying to explain this simply, because it is simplex, but it's not simple, right? You have to really be aware of the geometry. You have to be aware of the torus. You have to be aware of the hyperboloid. You have to be aware of what is contained in the center. The center is the null point. It is the 0 point, okay? There is nothing, again, it's not really nothing. It's not a thing, okay? It's not a thing that represents the center, the plane of inertia that is contained around the center meridian of the entire toroidal field. Okay? But in the center, you cannot detect anything. It's like if you basically take a Gauss meter in between two magnets, and you'll discover that there's nothing there. It doesn't detect anything. Okay, guys, there is no such thing as a law of attraction. Okay, that is a falsehood. This is what I've always said, is that the law of attraction is an incomplete law because magnetism does not attract. Magnetism accelerates back to the null point, to a source point, right? So if this pencil eraser right here is the null point, and this is the magnet, okay, it is accelerating towards the null point, okay? This is not attraction. It's not about an attractor, okay? Attractor is a different methodology altogether. It's a different modality altogether. To look into the nature of attraction is something very, very different. This is an acceleration that happens, pertaining to the nature of magnetism. So you have acceleration that basically happens towards the center, the null point, the source point itself at the center of the toroidal field, which in hence is the ether. Okay? So the ether is something that we cannot describe. It has no words for it because there's no conjecture. There's no material. There's nothing on a matter level that can define the ether. If it was so easy, we would have been able to define this hundreds of thousands of years ago. But no one's been able to define the ether. Right? Ken is the only one who's really defined magnetism. And I'm doing my best to try and convey this in a very simplistic way based on how he shares it. But it still requires a lot of work because it's simple, but it's not at the same time. Okay? So basically, we're looking at something that represents a perturbation. All we can ever measure is the perturbation of the ether, but you can never measure the ether itself. When there's an ether perturbation, the mind can get focused on that because there's a geometry. There's a hyperboloid. There's a magnetic field. Okay? There's a torus shape. But when all of that retracts back into the ether, when it folds back in again, there's nothing to track. It's like looking at a white screen where there's nothing on the screen at all. You're just looking at the infinite. Okay? So the best way to look at it is that the ether is the infinite. It is a complete and total infinite capacitance that does not have any drain of energy upon it. Okay? Its capacitance is infinite. Its energetic nature is infinite. Its matrix is infinite. It is inexhaustible. It is unfathomable. And it is the direct connection between spirit and the material plane. This is why it inverts. This is why the ether itself inverts when there is a perturbation of conception that comes through, to which we refer to as the dielectric and magnetic fields. Okay? So, I would suggest looking more into Ken Wheeler's work. He's a little challenging to get to understand because, like I said, he really brings these in scientific, technical terms. There's times where he gets a little bit simple, but it's my job to kind of look at a lot of his work and try to simplify it in a way. But that's very challenging, right? It's a simplex system, but it's not always so simple to explain. Okay? So to answer your question about the ether, it is the infinite. Okay? It is the very essence of the I am. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay, S Loves Roses, thank you very much for your donation. So we're going to move on to healing now. So S Loves Roses says, I'm in the middle of sciatic pain, right leg. I don't know what I did to create it, but I'm sure your healing will help. Okay. So with S Loves Roses, I will go ahead and do that for you. I'll just refer to you as Roses, if that's okay. As we're now going to go ahead and begin with the distance healing of today's broadcast. Okay. So S Loves Roses, so sciatic pain in the right leg, and you weren't too sure what created that. Okay. So Roses, all I want you to do right now is just to be present with me here and now. Okay. Just placing your hands upon the center of your chest. We're going to take 3 deep breaths in and out. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so Roses, what I want you to do right now is I want you to continue doing the heart rate variability breath. Okay, so I want you to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out through your nose for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just continue that rhythm. Continue that flow. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. No pauses before, in the middle, or after. Okay, just oxygenating yourself with the heart rate variability breath as I can now connect with you, and we will work on healing that sciatica pain for you. Okay, here we go. Okay, so roses right now, I just want you to take your hands out, just extending them out, just like you're holding on to a big ball of light, and you're just slowly compressing that ball back into yourself, and you're saying to yourself, God is making me better, God is making me better, God is making me better, putting all of that back into the heart, letting all of that light absorb into your being, and feeling all of those old effects no longer present within your body. They are being completely flushed out. They are being returned back into the ether. The magnetic field is returning back into its own harmonious orientation. The energy field is returning back into equilibrium. The body is in sound shape. The emotional body is in sound shape. And the mental body is in sound shape. Everything feels clean, everything feels clear. All there is now is clarity. Let it be so. Okay. Roses, thank you so much for your question. Thank you very much for your request. Blessings to you. Appreciate it. Okay, guys, so once again, we're going into healing now. So I'm just going to be looking for any healing questions that are here. Okay, I see that there's a couple of questions here from Centurnine, is it? Okay. Let me tackle those questions first before we go back into the healing, because I forgot to see these questions. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, YouTube doesn't put up this notification. Like, certain Centurnine, I never got your notification of your questions. That is weird. I don't know why YouTube is doing that. Okay. So, now basically, Centurnine, we've already answered your question in a previous episode. Okay, so I'm just going to basically give you a summary because you asked about the solar flash and ascension. Okay, the sun doesn't work that way. Okay, the sun does not have its own light and it does not have its own heat. If you guys do not know what I am talking about, then I want you to go onto my YouTube channel, run a search, and just type in the true nature of the sun, New Earth teachings. Okay, the true nature of the sun, New Earth teachings. That will tell you everything, that will bring you up to speed about what the sun really is. Okay, it is not some fiery ball furnace sitting in the middle of the cosmos, spewing these flames, spewing this heat, spewing this blinding light. Okay, that is not what the sun is. That is nothing but scientific distortion. Okay, how the sun works is that it works together with the nature of its own cosmic radiation. Its own cosmic radiation bonds together with the atmospheres of celestial bodies that have atmospheres. Through their atmospheric alchemy that comes together, this is what's producing the light and the heat for each planetary body that contains an atmosphere. And through the atmosphere itself, we're having deep penetrating rays that are coming back and forth, hitting the ground back up to the atmosphere at incredible speeds. Oxygen itself becomes the catalyst in regards to the nature of the absorption of the heat and the light on this planet. This is why if you go up into higher elevations, everything feels colder, there is less oxygen, everything feels a lot more cooler, and as you continue to go up and up more, it almost reaches again that point of freezing, depending on how high up you go. Okay, so again, if you're moving up in the higher atmosphere, everything is just freezing cold because you're moving past the barrier that basically contains the heat and the light that comes from the cosmic radiation of the sun. Okay, so the sun is more of, in that sense, a radiation-based living well. Right, it's a living well of cosmic radiation, but it is that cosmic radiation that gives life to all planets as a nurturer. Okay, so all planets have its own internal heating systems, and has its own internal structures that can help to nourish it appropriately. But the sun is needed to become the primary nurturer of all planets. But planets have everything pertaining to their own natural ecological systems, their own living systems, as it were. Okay, so the planet is more responsible for that, but it's receiving the nourishment, it's receiving the goodness from this cosmic radiation from the sun. Which means if you were able to leave the atmosphere and just go right into the depths of space, with no atmosphere around you, you wouldn't even be able to see the sun. All right? Because the sun itself, again, is only visible through atmosphere. This, again, is also talked about in the video. Okay? So basically, it's the atmosphere, our own atmosphere, that shows us where the sun is, that shows us the effects of the sun as well, too. All stars, again, representing those cosmic radiation living wells, are also bringing their pins of light, their pins of cosmic radiation, that we are seeing as pins of light through the atmosphere. Okay, so it's very, very different from what we've been told. It is not a fiery furnace. It is not a fireball just sitting in the center of the cosmos. Okay, that is not what a star is. So therefore, this is something that needs to be looked at a lot more deeper. Again, guys, I'm not a scientist. I'm just doing research. I'm being a metaphysical research here. And I think this is something that scientists need to get on, right? They know all the formulas, they know all the stuff to basically put it into scientific terms. I am not a scientist, I'm a researcher, right? And I'm looking at this from a researcher's perspective, okay? So Saturnian, that's what I can share in regards to that. So you're not going to see a flash from the sun, okay? There are plumes that come through the sun, but a lot of that represents more water and radioactive plasma than anything that represents fire. Okay, it's not a fire, it's not a flame, right, that's belching off and trying to burn up a planet. You know, guys, our planets are billions of years old. And if it was ever a point to where the sun would actually fire a bursting flame of solar fireball to these planets, don't you think they would have been destroyed a very long time ago? That has never happened throughout the course of our entire solar system. Everything has always been balanced together in a state of equilibrium between our sun and the planets that are orbiting around the sun. Okay? So it has never come to that particular point. This is why the whole idea of a solar flash is mostly BS. Okay? Yes, we will certainly have solar plumes. Yes, we will certainly have solar activity. Yes, there will be intensifications of times. There can be more of that cosmic radiation that comes forward through the sun, but that is being absorbed directly into the earth herself, because at the center of the earth is what? What did I just say the nature of the toroidal field, the hyperboloid, is? What's at its center? A null point. Okay? It is complete and total absence. Right? You can basically just have what you would know as the center there, and it would be completely devoid of anything that represents matter. Okay? So a lot of this cosmic radiation is coming through, and it's representing, you could say, a big change, a significant transformation with the earth. Okay? But we are also the stewards of the earth, which means we are helping in an ascension process with the planet. Okay? By evolving ourselves, by turning ourselves around, by moving much more into the I, into the I am. That is how we're helping the planet, moving up into states of an ascension. Okay? So an ascension really just represents the nature of an upliftment. Okay? It's an upliftment that's taking place. It's not something that is done for you. Okay? It's something that we all have to do together. That's the nature of it. Okay? So Centurnine, I hope that answers your question. Please watch that video. It'll bring a lot more things into perspective relating to the sun. Okay? Thank you for your questions. Okay. Let's go down the list here a bit more. Okay. Okay, this is just another question from Anita. Sorry guys, I'll be getting to another healing here in a minute. She just asks, I want to have some healing, but I don't know what is best for me. Okay, well, saying that you want healing is pretty vague. Okay, so we need to look into your body. So Anita, this is where you need to scan your body. So yeah, I want to come and get some healing. Okay, healing for what? Right? Are your legs sore? Do you have problems with your stomach? Do you have problems with your throat? Do you have headaches? What's going on? Okay, so you being able to look into your body to find out exactly what you have will help to determine exactly what works best for you. So if you're looking for etherics, the best thing I could start you off with is the free trial symbol, right? Try some of the freebies. See how that makes you feel. If you're enjoying some of the freebies, then you can look into investing into a Taurus bed, okay? You can look into getting the healing code cards, the etherics card decks. You can look into getting, this is what I recommend everybody should have in their house, 3 things. Number 1, the etherics card decks. Number 2, the bed kits. Number 3, the safeguards, okay? If you have those 3 things, your home's going to be in great shape, and you're going to be in tip-top shape as well too. Okay, so you want to make sure you have those 3 things. Okay, get your etherics card decks. This helps out with so many different things. 3 card decks, 44 cards in each deck. Right, a lot of great healing benefit that comes together from this. You have the safeguards. Okay, this is just what I printed out on a sticker sheet here. The safeguards are here. And what these do is you're just peeling them and putting them on your fuse box. You're putting them on your smart meter. Okay? You can put them around your pipes, under your sink. You can put them above or below or beside light switches, electrical plugins, and even putting them close to the plug-in areas of your appliances. If you can pull out the fridge, put a safeguard there right close to the plug-in, that would be a very good move. Okay? Your stove. If you have a microwave in the place, I would suggest just throwing the microwave out. But if you can't, if it comes with the place, then just put a safeguard by there. Okay, try and put them as close to their plug-in slots as possible. Okay, if not, then just put it by the front. It has about a 6-foot radius. Okay, so it will definitely cover that area. So your electrical plug-ins, your light switches, your fuse box, your smart meters. Okay, working together with the bed kits, helping you to perform great healing in all areas of the body. Right. That you can talk to the bed, and the bed can help to heal you all together, right? Chronic conditions, asthma, diabetes, hernia, arthritis, okay? All of these things have been cured by the bed kits. All of these things have been cured by the healing code cards, okay? And now looking into the safeguards, helping to clear away the toxic effects of EMF and ELF in your place, to which they can benefit you again. I'm telling you guys, because not only have you guys told me this is what I have discovered personally by using these things. I use all my own stuff, and it has majorly turned my life around. So that's what I can suggest, Anita, is work together with those. Okay, go to Etherics, try out the freebies, then get your 3 core products. Bed kit, Etherics card decks, safeguards. Okay, we have extra products as well too. They also represent the benefit for everything else. But again, those would be the three main things I would suggest everybody have in their house. Okay. All right, let's go down the list here. Okay, someone asked, what is Gnostic TV? You just go to gnostictv.com and you'll find out. Okay, GNOSTIC TV.com. Okay, that's their website. But again, when I put the orientation episode, I'll have an affiliate link down there, and I'd suggest clicking on that, and you can sign up for 3 days, 3-day trial, and enjoy the series. Okay, let's go down the list here. Okay, this one here is from Catherine Elmore. Catherine says, please, a healing for my friend Sabrina. She is in a very abusive relationship and is now stranded in California. Okay. Well, Catherine, I would say not to really just put this towards me. I would say let's put this towards everybody. Okay. Let's take a moment to help out Catherine's friend Sabrina. Okay. She's been in a very harsh relationship and she's stranded in California. Okay. This is not something that you should just come to me for. Okay. This is something that our entire community here can work together and help, right? So what I want you guys to do is, and I'll help you guide yourself through this, so I want you just to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, okay? And I want you just to focus on the wavelength of Sabrina, okay? So we have Catherine here, and she has her friend Sabrina. So Catherine, what I want you to do right now is I want you to feel like you're standing in front of Sabrina right now, okay? I want you to feel like you're entering into her presence, okay? So everybody, as Catherine is stepping into her presence with Sabrina, you are now going to residually connect to that wavelength to which Catherine herself is stepping into, okay? So this is how we are able to connect with another person without their photo or any form of hologram, okay? If a person knows them, they're stepping into that person's vibratory field. They're stepping into the presence of that person, okay? So I want you guys just to focus on Catherine, and I want you just to focus on her stepping into Sabrina, okay? And just feel that wavelength that represents Sabrina's energy, okay? And we're just interlocking with that energy now, okay? So what I want you all to do right now is I want you just to feel your hearts are opening up. And I want you to feel that white light from the heart that's just surging towards both palms. Okay? What we're going to do here is we're going to do a transmission posture for Sabrina herself. Okay? So you're tuning into her wavelength. And I want you just to open up your heart, follow your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. And you're just sending this love to Sabrina with me right here and right now. Okay? So let's do that together now. Breathing in. Breathing out, you feel your hearts open, you feel the white light flowing through your palms. It's like ripples coming out through your hands, and it is interlocking directly with the vibration of Sabrina. And just sending the deepest love, the deepest compassion, the deepest support that you can to Sabrina, Catherine's friend. And with a culmination of all of that love, filling her entire physical body with that, filling her vital body with that, her emotional body with that, her mental body with that, accumulating into every cell, saturating it with this divine charge of pure love energy, and discharging all distortions that are caught up in the cobwebs of her physical body, discharging it, returning it back into the ethers here and now. Apply. All right. It's all lifted. Okay. So everybody right now, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Just bringing your hands back into your heart, giving loving blessings to Sabrina and to Catherine as well. Okay. Thanking them for their presence today. Good. Okay, guys, so you have learned how to tune into someone's wavelength. You are going to learn this much more extensively when the Etherics Academy opens up, because you guys are going to learn how to do this. Okay. So the Etherics Academy is going to be debuting on August 15th. It will be available for enrollment on August 15th, and then September 2nd we will have our first class together. Okay. So I have a lot more details with the Etherics Academy, probably before I go to UK and after I come back as well too. More information will be provided for the Etherics Academy, because that too is going to be really exciting. Okay, we got another donation here from the Sarunas. Okay, so let me just double check and make sure. Okay, so the Sarunas, I didn't get anything in regards to a note regarding your donation, but thank you for your donation. Okay, so I'm right at the bottom of the chat. I don't see anything but your donation there, so I'm assuming this is just a donation, so thank you for that. Okay, Big D AG. This will be the last person that we'll do a healing with, and we're going to get into group healing, similar to what we just did, okay? So Big D, I'll just refer to you as Big D if that's okay. I have eye spells of blurred double vision. How can I help myself heal? Will the universe please assist? Okay, so here's what you need to do in regards to something physical, Big D, okay? So what you want to do, firstly, is you want to get some eye solution. Now, one of the things I can recommend, because I use this product and I'm not getting a commission off them or anything like that, it's called thankyousilver.com, okay? So it's just thankyousilver.com, okay? Thankyousilver.com, and getting one of their bottles. Now, this is a colloidal liquid, colloidal silver, okay? But it's a very potent colloidal silver. And what you're doing is you're getting an eyedropper, okay? And you're just extracting some of the liquid from the bottle, putting it in the eyedropper. Now I would say put 3 drops in each eye. 1, 2, 3, okay? Doing that at least once a day. That will help you out tremendously as well, okay? So working together with that is very beneficial. And of course, we're going to do a healing right now, and that can also help you out too. Okay? So there may also be some other solutions that people may know. That's just one that I recommend because it works really, really well with the eyes. If there's a burning and double vision, then that's basically looking at an inflammation that's taking place. If it's in both eyes, then yes. If it's in one eye, then it's basically something that may also be penetrating a certain hemisphere of the brain as well too. Okay, so Big D, I will work on that for you today. So all I want you to do is I want you just to be present with me. Okay, Big D, I want you to tune into my wavelength as I tune into yours. Okay? And all I want you to do right now, Big D, is just let yourself breathe in through the nose, 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Heart rate variability, okay? 4 seconds into the nose, 6 seconds out to the nose, no pause before, in between, or after, just a continuous flow of the heart rate variability breath. As I will go ahead now and work with your eyes, okay? Here we go. So big D right now, I want you just to take your hands out, just like you're holding a ball, and we're just scrunching that ball, we're compressing that ball with our hands. As we're doing that, we're just saying, God is making me better, God is making me better, God is making me better. Bringing that ball back into the heart, letting all of that light absorb into the body. Okay? The physical body is now being cleared. The eyes are now completely cleared and free of that condition. The sensations that you are feeling pertaining to the blurriness, inflammation, anything of that nature is now subsiding. Everything that has been peripherally affected by this condition within your body is now subsiding and being cleared. Everything within the mental and emotional bodies and vital bodies that have been peripherally affected by this condition are now being cleared altogether, here and now. Apply. Okay. Infinite love and blessings to you. Thank you very much. If you guys want to let me know how you're feeling after doing a healing, you can always let me know in the chat, or you can drop me an email, and I'm always happy to share that in the next week's broadcast as well too. Okay? So let me know how you're feeling after doing a distant healing request with me. Okay? So now we're going to move on to the final part of this broadcast because we're coming up on time now, and we're just going to do a last group healing, just like we did before with the transmission posture. Okay? So we're going to do the transmission posture relating to any healing that you require. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to gather up the love energy from each of us as a group, and it's going to be affecting the entire group that volunteers to participate in this exercise. Okay, so just as you guys did before when we were working with Sabrina, okay, bring your hands out into transmission posture, feeling the heart open up, and I want you just to feel that white light coming out through the heart, running through the arms and directly into the palms, and just imagining like there's a big ball directly in front of you, a large energetic ball, and you're filling it up with your own white light energy. Okay, so I want you all to do this now, being in the transmission posture, just as you see me right now doing. Okay, opening up the heart, letting all of that white light flowing through the arms, into the palms, and creating this white light rippling effect. As it ripples like a vibratory charge, it's going into the ball, and you're seeing the ball being completely filled up with the white light. So you and everybody else that is present in doing this exercise right now is all charging up this one energetic ball with the purity of your love. You don't have to be ecstatic, you don't have to be excited. All you're doing, the most important thing that you're doing, is you're just being neutral. You're just letting it pass through you. Right? You're like being a ghost, and you're just letting everything pertaining to the energy just pass through you, work through you, and filling up that ball that's right directly in front of you. Because not only are you filling it up, everybody else who's doing this, whether they are here right now with the recording, or whether they are watching the replay of this, is doing this right now. It's here, it's now. Okay. So just gathering all of that love energy, gathering all of that pure divine energy directly into this white ball. Okay? What you're going to see now is that white ball is going to have a cord. That cord is now going to come out. What I want you to do is I want you just to plug it directly into the center of your chest, right here. Okay? Plug it right in here. And all I want you to do right now is you're taking your transmission hands and you're just bringing them here like this. Okay? So your palms are just facing back towards your chest, like this. Okay? And you're going to be absorbing all of the love energy from that ball, and I want you to put it into areas of your body that you feel require it. Okay? So if you have a headache, send it up to your brain. If you have chest pain, send it into your chest. Okay? If you have a stomach ache, send it into your stomach. If you have problems with knee pains, send it to the knees. Okay? If you have an emotional issue, feel where it's brewing in the body and send that white light charge directly into that, okay? And you're just putting your hands like this, and you're just letting that charge come in, okay? So we don't have to do too much movement with the hands. We're just keeping them right here. And I want you just to feel that charge as you breathe in and breathe out. Now the next thing you're going to do is when you feel all that charge coming up into that area, I want you just to say the word discharge and snap your fingers, okay? So when that area of your body feels like it's fully charged with this white light energy coming in, snap your fingers, discharge, okay? What you are doing is you are discharging the chaotic anomalies of the magnetic field that is causing this condition, okay? You're getting enough charge to basically counterbalance the nature of that magnetic disharmony, and it's being discharged. So it's like the dielectric that's coming in and pulsing this charge, just like a lightning bolt, okay? A lightning bolt is a discharge, okay? And that's exactly what we're doing here. We are discharging the magnetic interruptions with that area of the body so that the magnetism goes back into the ethers through that discharge, okay? So that's what you're doing. So I want you to fill that area up with the white light, and it's almost like you can feel the pulsation of that charge coming into you, okay? When you feel that pulsation, or when you feel intuitively that it is there, discharge, okay? Then take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and check in with yourself. See how you're feeling. Okay? So, go ahead and do that now. Charging that area of the body. Snapping your fingers, discharge. When you feel that intuitive impression, it's ready to be discharged, go ahead and discharge it. Okay? Deep breath in, deep breath out. Relax. Come back into the present moment, bringing your hands back into the center. Infinite love and blessings. Namaskar. Okay. So how did that feel for everybody? Everybody feeling good? So you can let me know how that felt, how you did with your group healing. Because all of you helped to heal each other. Okay? We use the ball as the medium. The white light energy represents the charge. Okay? That's the charge of the dielectric. It's coming directly into the white ball. Has a cord that you plug in directly into the center point, funneling that energy into the area specifically that you need to have that energy placed into, charging it up, discharging. Gerlin says that my hands were on fire. Fantastic. That's great. That shows that your hands are now flowing. You're running this energy, right? So yes, usually when we feel that energy coming out, you can feel some tingling in your hands. You can feel some heat. That's your kundalini moving through your body as well too, okay? When you're ever getting that feeling of intense heat in the body, that's kundalini. Often that will move up through the Pingala Nadi, okay? Or the solar channel of your body, okay? Whenever you're feeling a cooling vibration, that is the kundalini flowing through the Ida Nadi, or the moon or lunar channel, okay? So if we notice that there's blockages that contain a great deal of heat, this is what's known as kundalini perturbations, okay? Which means there's too much magnetic interference that has happened there that is congested into a particular area of the body, and we need to bring the dielectric, we need to bring the cosmic prana, we need to bring that charge directly into that area, charging it up so that the lower pressure becomes high pressure, right? It's like low pressure weather systems and high pressure weather systems, okay? That magnetic clumping, that magnetic congestion is low pressure. Very little chi is being flowing in that area. It's stagnant, it's blocked. So we need to bring in the high pressure, the dielectric, to charge it up and to therefore create a discharge. And as that discharge happens, the magnetic pressure perturbation releases, returns back into the ether, and now that area is completely uncongested, and now it's allowing the natural living force of your prana to come through the body and to heal that area altogether. This is exactly what works through your physical, mental, and emotional bodies. It heals everything. And this, my friends, is what is contained inside etherics. Okay? That is what etherics does for you. You go in and you're getting this charge, and you're getting released, 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 and you're getting released. And that's what's happening. So that over time, your body starts to naturally heal itself. Okay? And I'm still making some updates with the bed kits. I'm still making some updates with a lot of the products on etherics so that they can really bring about a very good charge, and they can bring about this automatic releasing once there is a charge that builds up enough. And now it goes from a low pressure system to a high pressure system. The high pressure system is basically like a catapult That's just spewing that magnetic perturbation back into the ether. Okay? So everything's being recollected back into the ether. Through etherics, through this demonstration that I've just given you guys. Okay? It's a different kind of approach, but it still represents the similar essence of what is contained inside etherics. All right? Okay, so that is our broadcast for today, everybody. We're on live here for 2 hours. So a very big episode today. Hope you guys have all enjoyed it. Spirit Space is saying, wow, what a buzz from that healing. I'm tingling everywhere. Fantastic. That's showing that your body is now getting freed up. So Spirit Space, what's going to happen in the next matter of days is your body's going to naturally repair itself. Okay, guys, drink lots of water. Okay, after you've had this healing, go and grab a glass of water. Drink lots of water. Keep yourself hydrated. That will help with the energy. That will help with the living prana to go into that area and helping to restore that area that was previously congested by heavy magnetic perturbation. Okay, it's that magnetic clump. It's like knots, right? So we bring the dielectric, we bring the source vibration directly in, we charge it, we charge it, we charge it, we charge it, we charge it. Okay, release, discharge, poof, back to the ether it goes. Now that area is now completely freed of that knot. It's been unknotted, and now the living prana can go in there and saturation can commence. So in order for us to remove the magnetic block, we need to desaturate the magnetism itself. The magnetism gets desaturated by the dielectric, by the charge, by the source vibration. Okay? As it gets desaturated to a particular point where you intuitively know it's time to release it, gone. Okay? That's it. That is the vibrational science. What I'm teaching you guys here is vibrational science. Okay? This is energy science, this is vibrational science, this is frequency science. It is a science that has been forgotten, and it is everything that etherics represents. Etherics is vibrational science. Etherics is spirit science. And I hope you guys have benefited well from this. Thank you again for another wonderful episode today. It's been great. Glad having you guys here. Spread the word of etherics. Share this video around your social media. Let people know about this. Right? It really, really helps me. It really helps the cause of us getting this healing technology out there, because you don't need to learn to do all these things. You're going to learn if you go to the academy. But for everyday people, they don't have to learn how to do this. This is just going to happen for them as they get the etherics products. All right? Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time. Blessings to you all. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar. And may it be well with you. Goodbye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also etherics.co. And through etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar, and may it be well with you.